Most people think saving their first 10,000 is the end goal. They celebrate, feel accomplished, and then do nothing. The money just sits there, slowly losing value to inflation, while they wonder why life still feels the same. Investment. But here's the truth: saving your first of 10,000 isn't the finish line. It's the starting point. It's proof that you can be disciplined with money, that you can delay gratification, and that you can build habits most people never master. The real question isn't how do I save 10,000 anymore? The real question is, what do I do next so this money grows into real wealth? And that's exactly what we're going to break down today. The first mistake people make after saving their first 10,000 is letting it sit in a checking account doing absolutely nothing. Think about it, the bank might give you 0.01% interest, which is basically pennies, while inflation is eating away at the value of your money every single year. In reality, that means your 10,000 is worth less and less over time. Investment. You work too hard and sacrifice too much to let that happen. The smartest move is to put that money somewhere it at least earns for you while still being safe and accessible. Investment. That's where a high yield savings account or a money market account comes in. These options don't make you rich overnight, but they protect your money and pay you far more than a regular checking account. By doing this, you're making sure your money works just a little bit harder without taking unnecessary risks. You're not locking it away for years, and you still have quick access if you need it. But here's the key: when you treat your money like a lazy employee who never gets off the couch, you'll never see growth. When you treat it like capital that should be productive, everything changes. And that small shift in how you think about money separates those who build wealth from those who stay stuck. Imagine this: you've got 10,000 sitting in a checking account. A year later, it's still 10,000, maybe 10,000 or one if the bank was generous. Meanwhile, the cost of groceries, gas, and rent has gone up. Your money buys less than before. But if that same 10,000 was in a high yield savings account paying even 4%, you'd have an extra 400 without lifting a finger. That's not life changing on its own, but it proves a point: money should always be moving, growing, and compounding, no matter how small the numbers look in the beginning. This is how you set the foundation for the next steps. You're not gambling, you're not chasing quick returns, you're simply refusing to let your hard-earned savings lose value. Once you learn to never leave money idle, you'll start looking for every possible way to make it productive. And that habit alone will push you ahead of most people financially before you rush into investing or chasing higher returns. The most important step after saving your first to 10,000 is building an emergency cushion. This might not sound exciting, but it's the safety net that keeps your financial life stable when things go wrong. Without it, all the progress you've made can be wiped out in a single unexpected expense. Think about a job loss, a medical bill, or even your car breaking down. If you don't have a cushion, you're forced to use credit cards or loans, and suddenly the debt you worked so hard to avoid comes crashing back into your life. Investment. That's why 3 to 6 months of living expenses in an emergency fund is non-negotiable. This money isn't meant to grow your wealth. It's meant to protect it. It gives you peace of mind knowing that you can cover rent, groceries, and bills even if your income stops temporarily. Some people argue that keeping cash aside is a waste because it doesn't earn much, but they're missing the bigger picture. The return on an emergency fund isn't about interest. It's about security. It's about not panicking when life throws something unexpected your way. That peace of mind is priceless, and it keeps you from making emotional, desperate financial choices. The strategy is simple. And calculate how much you spend in a month on the basics: housing, food, transportation, utilities, and multiply that by at least 3. That's your minimum emergency cushion. If your lifestyle or job situation is less predictable, aim for 6 months or more. Once you know the number, put that money in a safe, easily accessible account like a high-yield savings account. Don't invest it in the stock market where it can lose value right when you need it most. Investment. Don't tie it up in something illiquid like real estate. The whole point is quick access and stability. When you have this cushion, you're free to take bigger financial steps with confidence. You can invest without constantly worrying that one emergency will force you to sell at the wrong time. You can focus on long-term growth instead of living in fear of short-term setbacks. In short, your emergency fund is the foundation that everything else is built on. It's what separates those who crumble under pressure from those who keep moving forward, no matter what life throws their way. Once you've built your emergency cushion, and the next move is to start directing your money toward assets, not liabilities. This is the turning point where people either set themselves up for long-term success or quietly sabotage their progress without even realizing it. Assets are things that put money into your pocket, grow in value, or both. Liabilities, on the other hand, drain your income and keep you stuck on the treadmill of working just to keep up. Too many people hit their first 10,000 milestone and immediately start thinking about upgrading their car, buying new gadgets, or living a lifestyle that looks good on the outside but bleeds their bank account dry. And that's the exact trap you want to avoid. Instead, channel your savings into proven income-generating assets. Investment. Index funds and ETFs are great starting points because they give you broad exposure to the stock market without the need to pick individual companies. You're essentially buying into the growth of entire economies, which historically has built wealth over the long term. Even a modest return of 7% to 10% compounded over time can turn small contributions into life-changing sums. This isn't about getting rich overnight. Investment, it's about letting your money grow consistently year after year. Real estate is another powerful option if you're willing to learn and start small. Something as simple as a house hack. Living in one unit while renting out the others can lower your own expenses while building equity. It turns your biggest liability, housing, into a partial asset. That's how you start bending the rules of the financial game in your favor. The key is to build the discipline of asking yourself one question before spending. Does this put money into my pocket, or does it take money out? If it's the latter, think twice. It's not that you can never buy things you enjoy, but the priority should always be stacking assets first. Every $3 you spend on liabilities is a dollar that could have been working for you. This mindset shift is where real wealth begins. By focusing on assets instead of liabilities, you're setting up streams of income and growth that compound over time. That's how your 10,000 turns into 50,000 and eventually into financial freedom. Saving your first 10,000 is an incredible milestone. But it's critical to understand that it's not the finish line. It's the beginning of something much bigger. Many people treat that number like a trophy, celebrate it, and then slow down investment, thinking they've made it. The real power of reaching this point is that it proves you have the discipline, focus, and ability to manage money effectively. It's a signal that you can handle more, that you can scale your habits, that your financial goals are now within reach if you continue building momentum. Treating it as an endpoint limits your potential, while treating it as a foundation sets you up for exponential growth. The mindset shift here is everything. Investment, your first 10,000 should act as a springboard. It gives you confidence that your strategies work, and it's proof that your habits are producing results. Instead of spending it recklessly or resting on your laurels, use it to reinforce your financial plan and push yourself further. Every financial decision you make from this point should aim to multiply that 310,000, whether through investing, building new income streams, investment, or further strengthening your safety net. Momentum is built through consistent, intentional action. The habits that got you to tens of thousands, tracking expenses, saving aggressively, avoiding unnecessary debt, are the exact habits that will get you to 50,000 and 100,000 and beyond. Each small step compounds, and the discipline you've already demonstrated becomes your greatest asset. The key is to not let fear, impatience, or complacency creep in. The first 10,000 is not magic. It's proof that you can follow a system and succeed, which means the system is ready to scale. It's also important to recognize that milestones like this are psychological fuel. Celebrating responsibly is fine, but then you need to pivot and focus on what comes next. Use this achievement as motivation, not as an excuse to slow down. Think of it as laying the first brick of a foundation. If you keep building on it consistently, the structure becomes something substantial, something that can support your long-term financial independence. The real lesson is that money, when managed wisely, becomes a tool for growth. Your first $10,000 is just the beginning of that journey, and how you use it now determines how far and fast you can go